How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the World Center for Birds of Prey. My name is Tate Mason, director up here, and today is a very, very special day. It is the grand opening of our Power Global STEM classroom, a brand new addition up here, a space that is going to make our education program so much more effective in connecting with people in the field, connecting with students in the classroom, connecting with students at home. It's a real game changer for us up here. So you may not recognize where we are, but we're currently in the biology room at the World Center for Birds of Prey. And we have a brand new door here into the Power Global STEM classroom. Let me show you around. So what we did here is we really took our theater. We had an old film theater and we took out a wall. So we made the largest space that we have for education at the World Center for Birds of Prey. And we put in a state-of-the-art theater. And so we're able to broadcast the movies and that sort of things that the Peregrine Fund has been producing. But then we are also able to connect with researchers in the field. But this is also just an amazing place to be able to connect with raptors themselves. So it's such a big open area. And let's see, I think we're going to maybe have somebody visit us. So I'd like to introduce Curtis Evans. Curtis Evans is our raptor specialist and education coordinator. And he is here with a bird that is just learning about this classroom.
There she is.
Now, vultures are amongst the most threatened birds of prey, or birds in general, in the world. Of 23 species of vultures worldwide, 16 of them are threatened or endangered. And what we have here is a turkey vulture.
There you go, baby. You want to fly for us? Yeah, come grab a seat over here.
Turkey vultures are found all across North America. And they are a migratory species. And so in places like Idaho, we have this species here in the summertime, in the spring, and then they migrate down to places like southern Arizona into Mexico for the winter.
She's just checking it out as well. Want to come say hi?
Curtis, why don't you tell us a little bit about Lucy?
Sure. Yeah, so Lucy is our turkey vulture. She's 19 years old and she's spent most of her life here with us. And we'd love to see her out in the wild, but she was raised by people and thinks that we are part of her flock. And so vultures are a very social species. And so part of their adaptations for survival is that social connection they have with their species. But because Lucy lacks those social skills with other vultures and she has them with us, she's going to be part of our flock, or we're part of her flock for her life. And so she's one of the most socially intelligent raptors here at the center. And so she's a super fun bird to work with and to interact with and to train. But also she has a lot of elements of play where she likes to, I'm trying to feed her and try to motivate her with food right now, but she's actually more interested in the room and the curiosity and playing with us than eating right now. Kind of like when I have my kid at lunchtime, she'd rather play than eat. And so it's kind of lunchtime right now, but she's like, I'd rather play. I'll eat later if I can pick. And so
Curtis, what do vultures eat? What do turkey vultures eat in particular?
Sure, vultures, usually everyone will tell you this, they'll eat dead meat.
Right.
Right, and a lot of times people kind of go, ooh, that's gross, right? Vultures eat dead meat. But what kind of meat do you eat?
I'm a vegetarian, Curtis.
I know that's not true. Because I've had some delicious elk
Right.
from you.
Yeah, that I've harvested.
Yeah, so we, as humans, when we eat meat, if we choose to eat meat, we do eat dead meat. But the difference between vultures and humans and what we eat is that humans have the ability to kill for food. So if you're going to eat meat, you can hunt and kill or have another human do that for you. But what we don't have the ability to do is clean up the mess. Is it messy when you go hunting?
Yeah, it can be pretty messy.
If you're successful.
Right.
And you can't do anything with that mess. There's things you can't eat. And so they're there on the landscape. And vultures, while they lack the ability to kill, they have a great ability to clean up those pieces we can't. So as long as humans have been hunting, vultures have been our partners, where we provide the food, they provide the cleanup. And so without one or the other, that ecosystem suffers.
So why are vultures facing these declines, as I mentioned, around the world?
Sure. A lot of times it's accidental poisonings.
Okay.
It's a byproduct of one of our choices. And usually when our scientists can identify that small choice, we can make a slightly different choice that we can coexist.
Right.
So, and an example of our work in India, throughout Africa, Central, South America, and then here in North America, we have different vulture species that we're able to identify those small choices humans make that can then be altered to coexist together.
Great.
So there's 23 vulture species on the planet, and 16 of those species are threatened or endangered with extinction.
Are there any vultures in North America that are threatened with extinction?
There are. There's 3 vulture species. You see one here in front of you, which is Lucy, turkey vultures. Black vultures those 2 are doing fine, but the California condor is a vulture, and they are threatened with extinction right now.
Awesome. I mean, not awesome, but.
Well, we know about it, and that's what's awesome.
Right.
And we also know the solution, and that's pretty awesome too.
Right. So one of our biggest projects is with the recovery of the California condor. The Peregrine Fund has been raising condors in captivity since 1993. It's one of our longest running projects, and we've been releasing them in the wild since 96. We have been administering, kind of running the recovery of the California condor in Arizona and in Utah, where in Arizona they are found just north of the Grand Canyon. Actually, they're found in the entire region of northern Arizona and southern Utah. But our release site is at the Vermilion Cliffs, and we're actually going to take you to the Vermilion Cliffs now and introduce you to some of our biologists that are out there running that program in the wild. So Chris, Tim, are you guys on here?
You bet. We're here.
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen?
Not much. How are you doing, Tate?
Doing so good. Just here at the Power Global STEM classroom. And one of the things that we've always wanted to do to make our education programs more compelling is to be able to connect with our researchers in the field. Now the technology that we've put into this classroom has enabled us to do that. We're going to be able to do this with students here on site. But today, for the grand opening of the classroom, we're going to connect with Chris Parrish, who is the Global Director of Conservation for the Peregrine Fund. And he's been working with condors, I think, for about 65 years. And Tim Hawk, who's our Condor Program Manager. And what are you guys doing out there today?
Oh, wow. We're on top of the Vermilion Cliffs, and you can see behind us, we have a big trap behind us. And this is a trap that we use to manage the condor population. So we're here putting on transmitters and changing tags and doing overall health assessments. And so that second part, the overall health assessment that we're doing, we're drawing blood. And one of the main things we're doing is testing the birds for lead poisoning, because lead poisoning is one of those issues, as Curtis was talking about, that threatens the California condor's existence. So we're here to take those measurements and collect those data so that we can further our understanding of the impacts that lead poisoning events have on condors and do something about it.
Is there a reason you guys are trapping birds in, what is it, December now? Just, is there like a seasonality to it? Are you guys trapping all year round?
Yeah, there's a seasonality for sure. We're just finishing up with the hunting seasons out here in northern Arizona and southern Utah. So that's the time when condors and other scavengers are most vulnerable to acquiring some lead on the landscape after the hunting season. If a hunter was to use a lead-based ammunition, that could potentially be left in the field and scavenged by one of these rare birds.
Is there anything we can do about that?
You bet, Tate. And that's one of the hallmark, I think, items about the Peregrine Fund and the work that we do is that we don't just produce and release birds. We monitor them, as Tim and the crew are doing here today. And then we take those data and that information and we convey that to the folks that want to know. And in this case, to our target audience, which are the hunters here in Northern Arizona. And through programs with our partners, the Arizona Game and Fish Department and Utah Division of Wildlife, we've created voluntary incentive-based programs whereby hunters are shared this information and encouraged to use non-lead, even incentivized. In some cases, you can get free non-lead ammunition if you're lucky enough to draw a tag here. We have had here in Northern Arizona, right here across the valley, for the last 12 years, over 87% voluntary participation with that program. So it's that kind of work in action and conservation that comes from the work of breeding birds, releasing birds, studying them to the extent where we can share that information with the public, because after all, this is public land. These are the public's birds. We're just
Right.
lucky to get to manage them for them.
Yeah. And, I made the switch to copper ammunition and based on experience from my elk and deer hunting, it's just a fantastic projectile. And then also kind of makes me feel good when, I see bald eagle or something like that jumping up off of a gut pile to know that there's not lead in that. I think that's what we're talking about. So I hear you guys have some special guests that are there with you at the Vermilion Cliffs.
We do, and we'll introduce the one here joining us at the cliffs.
Hello, that looks like, I can't tell who that is. I think that's Heather Muleman.
You guys can I be in the frame so I can take my mask off and I don't look?
The rule with the masks here is that if you have more than 6 feet of distance and you're by yourself, which actually I think I am now here too, we could take our masks off and be free in the face as long as we don't put anybody at risk. So what's going on, Heather?
Oh my gosh. We are up here on the Vermilion Cliffs watching condors take thermals by storm. And we're so excited to be offering this virtual experience, which I know is going to be one of many that we'll be able to offer to Treasure Valley students and students from all over the world. But I'm actually here to introduce you to our very, very special guest and really the man behind the magic, making this Power Global STEM classroom a reality. I want to introduce to you Jim Haynes. He is the president of the Power Foundation and the CAO of Power Engineers. Come on in.
Hey, welcome, Jim. And if you're just catching up with, I didn't know much about Power Engineers before I, started and met Jim and learned a little bit about what that company does. Jim, what does Power Engineers do?
Oh, goodness. Tate, Power Engineers is a global engineering firm. We're based in North America, but we're all over the world doing primarily power projects, power lines, power generation. We also build plants for the food industry. Our primary focus is around power lines and the environmental aspects of building those power lines and designing them.
Excellent. So what would be the interest in Power Foundation to build a classroom at the World Center for Birds of Prey?
Well, the Power Foundation, Tate, was set up with a pretty simple charter to start with. It was really to support STEAM education throughout the country, particularly in the areas where Power Engineers operates. And so STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. We learned about the Peregrine Fund. We learned about the World Center for Birds of Prey as it's in Boise, which is where our largest office is. We're in Meridian, close by. And with that charter, and once we learned about the World Center, we learned how much you'd been educating folks in the Treasure Valley. And then we heard the vision of the classroom. And suddenly we had a chance to double the number of children you could educate at the World Center every year just from the Treasure Valley, plus the opportunity to add this technology that in essence allows you to educate people anywhere on Earth. How could we avoid such an investment? It's just perfect. It's a great match for us.
It's a good match for us too. And your team has been so awesome to work with. So I really want to thank Power Foundation and Power Engineers. Now, what are you doing there at the Vermilion Cliffs? What have you been doing today?
Oh my God, Tate, it's just amazing. I got to thank all of you for having us up here. It's just, well, for one thing, it's just beautiful up here. We've had a chance to learn so much. You know, we've seen somewhere between 5 and 10% of the wild California condors on Earth up here just this morning. It's really been incredible. 7 so far were captured. We've watched the biologists here test their blood of the 7, and sadly, 2 of them have high levels of lead and are probably going to have to be brought off these cliffs and treated and have their lead levels reduced. But the good news was 5 had nice lead levels, so that was good news. I guess I hear that's good news that 5 of the 7 were in good shape. And but we've learned so much, Tate. It's just been amazing. I think what I've really learned is how hard these biologists work out here. I mean, not only are they capturing the birds and testing them, they're tracking these birds all across the region, you know, using telemetry and GPS technology. And, you know, they want to know why a bird is somewhere else. They want to know what it's eating and where it's eating. And it's just, the hard work is amazing, Tate. I'm so impressed.
So much of science is kind of making that observation, being in the field, asking questions. And that's exactly how we teach science here. And the Peregrine Fund is also doing that science in the field. And so it's so awesome to be able to connect you in person there. But then also for us to have the opportunity to connect to our global projects through this Power Global STEM classroom. Like I said, it's going to be a game changer. You know, we've been closed to the public up here, but we've been really doubling down on how we're going to be able to use this classroom and this technology. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys.
Well, thank you, Tate. Thank you very much.
So I understand that there's a finale here. You guys are going to do something. What's going to happen next here? Are we going to see a condor fly? That's what I want to know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so as Jim said, the 5 condors that did test really well and their lead levels are low enough to be released, we're going to bring that to you. We're going to show you these birds with a 9.5-foot wingspan leaving the pen and flying back free into the wild.
Yeah, well, let's do it. A lot of people will remember that we just released condors live on YouTube Live. Was that in September? And so now they've brought condors back in, they've trapped them, they've tested them for lead poisoning, and they're going to release them back into the wild. And we're going to get a front row to see that. So I'm just going to be quiet now, I think, because you guys will be on full screen when you're talking. And take it away, guys.
We're going to get out of the way and let you see it. And maybe we'll pick this up and move it a little closer, Tate. And you tell us.
I think a closer would be better.
Okay.
So that's the trap.
That's the trap. Let me see. How does that look?
Yeah, there you go. Now we got it centered there. It looks really good.
Okay, bird's eye view. We're going to give the okay. Go ahead, Tom.
It just looks like a beautiful day up there. I don't see any wind.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, the birds have been having a great day flying around on the thermals. And
there's a condor flying overhead right now.
There you go. And we're about to see the birds come out of their holding boxes and leave the trap. So here you go.
Yeah. One of the most critically endangered species on planet Earth. 9.5-foot wingspan. Largest flying land bird in North America being brought back before our eyes. Wow. I want to be a biologist when I grow up.
So that pretty much wraps it up. And this is the process that the biologists will go through for the rest of the trapping season. And the goal will be to get our hands on every bird in the population, get a blood lead level, make sure they don't have dangerously high levels of lead. And then once again, take that information back out to our public, because all in all, that's why we do it, to make the ecosystem a better place and to share that story. And having this classroom and having this connectivity, man, what an opportunity. And thank you guys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks to everybody that's been joining us here today live. Thanks to Power Foundation, Power Engineers. Thanks to our field biologists. Thanks to Aaron Katzner, Curtis, Evans and the crew here at the World Center for Birds of Prey for making this all happen, and keep the fire burning.